Welcome people of the World Wide Web. So it's the weekend and it's as usual a movie review time, and you know from the title this is The Boy and the Heron. So anyone who doesn't know, this is the latest this is the latest movie from the Studio Ghibli series from Hayao Miyazaki, the acclaimed director, writer and that of Spirited Away and movies like that. This is him. He came back, he did retire early in the 2010s and he came out of retirement, and then through COVID and many years he has produced this one. This is claimed as the most expensive movie Japan has ever produced. And yeah, so I was looking forward to this. Few warnings, I did go in late last night, I was quite tired. But anyway, I just want that to be a consideration of when I'm going this. So anybody who doesn't know The Boy and the Heron, this is, the title's kind of loosely based to a book, but it takes on from core parts of Hayao Miyazaki, so the director and the writer of this movie, of his lifestyle, of stuff that happened to him as a kid. He has incorporated this into this story. It is essentially a young lad who, during the early 1930s, I think it's about 1937s or that, basically his mum works at a hospital and it gets blown up and she dies. Him and his father then move on because obviously the 1930s, late one, this is around World War II, close ones, and obviously you have the issues going on. Japan obviously are building fighter planes, and this is what the main character, apologies after going, so Mahito is the young lad who is the main protagonist in this movie, and then Soshi is his father. He deals with the planes. So after their mother dies, they kind of move around and move to a new plant in a different part of Japan. This is where you meet Sahoshi's new partner, which is Nasuko. She's pregnant with his child, so Mahito not the drink, but yeah, he is going to get a younger brother or sister. This is the first, as far as you can tell, it looks like this is the first time meeting him. They go to they live a little bit out in the sticks where this factory is. Unfortunately, the little kid, Mahito, the main character, doesn't get on with school, ends up hurting himself and then him staying at home. And while he's at home, he keeps hearing this heron which flies around the property of where they are, where he is now moved to. And there is kind of a little castle that has been built up, and this is where the heron, and he starts hearing the heron talk, and this leads him into kind of following the heron and into this crazy world where he meets different people that he kind of knows from different timelines, that's all kind of mixed into this weird reality. So there we go. So that is a summary of the movie. What did I think? I thought this movie was very okay. I mean, looking after it, this has got high praise and lots of things, and I think it actually, for Hayao Miyazaki, this is probably one of his worst of work. I say, maybe it's my mindset, maybe it isn't the great, I just think it looks like a Hayao Miyazaki story. It feels like a Hayao Miyazaki story, but the story is an absolute mess in my eyes. Anyway, spoiler warning will come up as usual, and we shall get into it. So yes, so first we start off, as I've said, the young lad, the hospital where his mother is on fire. He goes to help with his dad. Unfortunately, she passes. This is very quick turning base, and then you have obviously him narrating, saying that he has obviously his mum died a year later, his dad moved and stuff like this. And I think it was the fire and the dad, and then a few years later they moved to this place where you meet his new love interest that is obviously pregnant, and obviously this is where he's staying with them, and they live in this house in this factory, and this is where the new life is. The kid obviously has a few issues, starts fights on his first day, and then smacks himself in the head with a rock, which causes him to bleed excessively, and this puts him off school. Whether he does that deliberately or not, I don't know. It's a bit of a weird thing to do. He's very, he obviously has issues, but it's been so quick into this scene that you don't really get to kind of appreciate or understand anything. The heron, obviously, as it starts talking, starts having teeth, the old Studio Ghibli way. This is the heron I quite liked in this. Obviously, the heron is there saying his mum is still alive and she can take him to him. Obviously, this brings him into kind of a different world where you can kind of travel between the real world and not between doors within this little kind of one kingdom. but you don't really feature that much of anything anyway. Animals, birds are the kind of main thing he goes for. It. He meets like these parrots who want to eat him and stuff like this, and he's trying to find his mother. Also in the process, what would be his stepmother is also believed to be in this realm. She has disappeared, and that kind of initiates him going, and obviously the heron talking to him early in the movie is why he believes it's here. And then you find out there is an old ancestor of the young lad, Mojito, and his dad and mum, and basically he wants Mojito to take over this world because he has created this weird world based off this rock. You kind of get a foreshadowing a little bit of this, that he disappeared earlier on, but you don't get any more than that. Obviously he goes on a bit of a crazy journey like you do in Hayao Miyazaki's movie to try and get his mum back, coming across his future mum, meeting younger and older versions of people that he knows, and the weird herring guy who is a bit of an oddball, bit of a weird bad guy. Then only features it in a little bit, and then kind of it has its conclusion. He kind of ends up meeting a younger version of his mum. Spoiler alert here, she goes back to a normal time, he goes back to his. And then they fast forward in a new world. His future mum has given birth to a child, and they're moving, and he's kind of saying bye to the house, but kind of he's just packing up his stuff. That's it. And as much as maybe me trying to explain to it might not have sound that it makes logical sense, is I totally agree. So what didn't I understand? There are going to be heavy spoilers, so I'll put up a double warning of this. I don't normally do this. There is so much I'm going to explain and ruin. So if you haven't seen this movie and you've decided to get this far, I would, as I say, this is a movie I will watch a second time when I'm not tired, but I still feel that there were parts missing. So obviously this whole story is mainly about this young lad having trauma from his mum. You don't even get to meet the mum until very later on when she's very younger, and it doesn't explain how she is there. Maybe something with their lineage, it doesn't, and this ancestor who has this kind of weird rock and this kind of weird alternate world. Again, not really explained how that comes about. He kind of has just been missing, and then he kind of shows up and wants him to be his replacement. As you go along, you find out Mojito, his dad, has a new love interest. What it doesn't really loosely explain is it's his mum's sister. His mum. So that already within weird itself. They kind of gloss over this whole fact quite a lot of time, but they mention little bits like, when people who work for his new mum know this young lad, and it's a bit strange, and I'm like, why don't you just say this stuff like that? Why didn't we have more background of meeting his mum and learning about his mum? It means more, we would be more tied to this story, because for me I was more confused. The fact that it was just this young lad who lost his mum straight off the bat, got a new family and should be happy, just wants to fight with everybody and smashes himself in the head, which seems a bit disturbed in my eyes for whatever. You have the Hayao Miyazaki animation style, and you have the planes featured in it, but then this alternate world with this heron, and it's the boy and the heron, and the heron, apart from being a disciple of this kind of ancestor, and he kind of helps him, hits a very minor role. It's kind of, as I would like to put it, it's the role of Apu from Aladdin. It's not a big role, but the movie is called A Boy and a Heron, and the heron. I was like, so totally not sure where they were going with that when I say the people that he meets at different ages and stuff. It doesn't explain where this whole realm comes from or how they're linked, and there are references to kind of the real worlds, and like with little dolls of the old people who live in the house that he now lives in, and they're like told don't touch them, now have an effect. He does actually knock one of them up, move one of them at one point, nothing ever happens. They go through this door like about 2/3 of the way through it, and he sees his dad in real life, but his mum, that he doesn't realise is his mum, goes, well, if you let go of the handle, you'll come back in now. And I was just like, it just did not make logical sense, or it didn't make sense in the fact I was so confused and so wondering what was going on with these characters that I couldn't relate to them. If we had like 5 minutes at the beginning of, this is the family, this is his mum, blah blah blah, their love, she dies, he's very upset, and you got to see more points out, and that's why he acts out. It would make more logical sense, him going, I don't want to go to school, then bash himself in the head. okay, we get where you're coming from. You're still upset from your mum, you know, but not making it clear that the woman he's loving is your aunt, who no one's kind of mentioning. It seemed very strange. Then you have the whole fact of this weird dimension, something, you know, that he's trying to get for his mum, but his future mum is also locked in there. Seemed very, you know, it kind of mixed messages. Didn't kind of work that well. I liked the Heron. I liked the fact there was a human kind of person inside of there, and how they work together. And I just feel they could have, you know, literally, you know, had more of his mum, had moved in, go, look, I've all fallen in love with your mum's sister. That's why she looks like it. We're going to stay with them. He's unhappy. The Heron's kind of like, no, we can see your mum. There is a way to get it. It's in this weird dimension that you go through here. Kind of building it all up so we all have, right, he's on a mission. Then actually him going into this world and looking for his mission with his future mummy not actually safe at home, not trying to split the narrative. And then it's just this big mission of him trying to find and meeting all these characters who are actually different age versions of people he knows in real life, and one of them being his mum that he doesn't realise until the end, until he gets there. And then it's kind of like, no, you were looking for your mum was with you most of the time. She does the acknowledgement, which she does do at the end of the film, and says, I love you, but, you know, I can't go with you, I have to go back to my own time. Would have made so much more sense. I say, Hayao Miyazaki, I love him. Like, I have literally 20 of the whole Studio Ghibli Hayao Miyazaki movies, all the way from, you know, Nausicaa, Valley of the Wind to The Wind Rises. I have them all. I spent money on, you know, I have them all, watched them all, love most of them, sad and stuff. But there was this one I just did not know where he was going with the story. I said, I know when reading up there are a lot of issues, it's taken a lot of time, and maybe Hayao Miyazaki himself had this story that he linked with his own life, and maybe that made sense to him, but to me it didn't. Yes, it was the most expensive movie to make in Japan, so they claim, and it's made a lot of money because you slap Hayao Miyazaki on it, Studio Ghibli, people will definitely go and see it. Doesn't make it a good movie. I've been up and down this. I'm going to give it 5.5. It's definitely worth a watch. I say, I'm going to look forward to owning it and rewatch it when I'm in a not as tired as I am. Maybe there might be a different version that is released. Maybe there's behind the scenes that I can watch and understand it. But it is very poor in comparison to the other Studio Ghibli films that are out there. As I said, it looks like a Studio Ghibli, it feels like a Studio Ghibli movie, but the story is just completely and utterly off. Anyway, that has been my opinion. Have you seen The Boy and the Heron? What is your opinion? Let me know in the comments down below. What is your favourite Hayao Miyazaki movie? Mine is Princess Mononoke. I've been Cypher Sigma Screen Time. Hope you enjoyed this review, and I shall see you in the next one.